everybody, I am the Mademoiselle and this is my channel. And as you guys can tell by today's title, today we're actually going to be doing a follow-up on a video that I recently posted regarding scammers finally getting caught for PPP loan fraud. Now, there's a couple things I do want to clear up. However, this video in particular is going to be on the politicians and the federal workers who were caught committing PPP loan fraud. And of course, this video is brought to you by Skillshare, but more of that at the end of the video. So if you guys did not watch my first video, please make sure you guys go check it out. It's linked down below. However, in regards to that video, there are a few things that I do need to clear up. First things first, I'm college educated. I have a bachelor's and a master's. Of course, I know that panoramic is not the real word. If you're not aware, you cannot say the P word on YouTube like that. This is why I and many other creators do not say the C word, the P word, or the V word. They're right here on the screen. Please make sure you take heed of that instead of coming in my comment section trying to call me stupid. There were people trying to say that I was slow or I rode on the short bus growing up, which why are y'all being so rude and disrespectful and you can't use context clues? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with riding the short bus. We are not going to be disrespecting anyone, especially me, on my channel. Second, it is a great day when scammers get caught. I do not care who you are, where you're from, and most importantly, what your situation is, because during the panoramic, everybody was struggling in one way or another. Sitting here and defrauding the government is not the way to go when everybody had to figure it out. Third, to think that only regular people got caught from PPP loan fraud is astonishing for me. A lot of y'all literally sit here, you watch 10-second TikTok videos or you watch a 30-minute YouTube video and you think that's it. If you truly care about learning about something, or if you're going to write paragraphs in people's comment sections, look it up. Do your own research. I say this in almost every video that I've posted. However, I understand a lot of you guys are new here, so you probably didn't think like, oh, okay, maybe there's some things that are left out. So I realized that for this particular topic, I'm probably going to be doing a full-blown playlist, and I'm going to be keeping up with this because it's insane. This has been going on for a while. The amount of people who have committed PPP loan fraud who have been prosecuted is less than 200. However, it's more than likely going to get worse than that, specifically because there is a dedicated task force to catching these people. Fourth, in regards to the whole idea of fraud not having a statute of limitations, I do apologize. It does have a statute of limitations. However, in regards to the PPP loan fraud, I do think they might just throw that out the window. I also believe that in terms of this particular situation, it has been extended. So upon doing some more research, trying to find politicians, celebrities, and federal workers who had took out PPP loans fraudulently, the list was so overwhelming. Hence why I said this is going to definitely be a playlist type situation, because I'm probably going to have to read for most of this video. And I don't typically do that. Like typically, you know, I got my little talking points and I say what I got to say, but like it's so much, it's insane. So for those of you guys who are just seeing me for the first time or did not see my first video, the PPP loan program was something that was rolled out in 2020 to help businesses still fulfill paychecks for workers instead of firing them. Unfortunately, this PPP loan was advertised as something that could have been forgiven. A lot of people thought it was free money. It was something easy that they probably wouldn't get caught for doing. So a lot of people organized businesses under the guise that they needed help, saying that they had multiple employees, and these people received loads of funds. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. The lowest amount I've seen someone get was maybe $20,000. But the point is, a lot of these people lied about having businesses and they used these funds fraudulently. They were flexing, spending money on luxury items instead of going to pay their employee. And shortly after distributing these funds, they started to realize that a lot of people did obtain them fraudulently. Now, the only reason we're kind of now seeing an influx of people talking about this is because now they're kind of starting to go after the little guy. However, upon looking at more information and trying to see the politicians, celebrities, and federal workers that got caught, I was just sitting here like, this should have been happening since 2021, 2022. Like, they literally started cracking down real quick. However, unfortunately, the average person on TikTok are the people that were sitting here talking about their personal experiences and saying how they're getting caught for PPP loan fraud, which is why we're kind of seeing the whole idea of people getting caught going viral now. However, there's been a multitude of people getting caught for the past few years. I'm going to leave my sources down below, but again, like I said, do your own research. Watching a few videos is not considered research. Go down below, go to the sources, look it up yourself. You will find so many people who have been caught up, from regular people to federal workers, politicians, celebrities, public figures, all of that. This video is mainly going to be on federal workers and politicians because it's just too damn much. I'm going to do a separate video on the celebrity. So for those of you guys who are already aware, have done your research and understand exactly what I'm talking about, and most importantly, who know people who have committed fraud, what do you guys think about this? On the screen, I do have resources for those of you guys who would like to snitch on your fellow people who went and committed PPP fraud, because it's crazy. Like, they're not going to give up on this, bro. There's a number, there's a website where you can snitch on people, and apparently you can get some money for it. So, hey, I'm just going to leave the resources there for you. So to understand how bad this truly is, you need to understand that the PPP loan was distributed by the SBA administration as well as the EIDL loan, right? The Emergency Injury Disaster Loan. Like, those are all distributed by the SBA, but our tax money is what fuels these programs. So for people to sit here and be like, oh, well, I don't care. Oh, well, life was hard. And nigga, that's your tax money. And then, of course, there's the whole excuses. Oh, well, the government is a bunch of scammers anyway. And, well, they use our money to fund so many different people. And listen, if you don't understand the way business, money, and I guess international relationships work, say that you don't understand it. That's for another video, for another time, but I do often talk about this on my Haitian channel. But just understand, right? Your taxes are being used for so many different things. That's why it's very important to understand who you vote into local office. But the people that are in these federal positions, these state positions, these municipal positions are literally sometimes way more important because they affect your day-to-day life almost immediately when they get into office. So I genuinely don't understand people making excuses for these people. It's not like they sat here and they used the funds to fund legitimate businesses. They sat here flexing, calling us broke, saying that we wasn't shit, taking the money to do n'importe quoi. So it's just insane, right? So first things first, right? Again, I'm going to be reading. Okay, so I'm sorry if I do not look attentive. I'm going to try to make this look visually appealing for y'all because, again, it is a lot. Now, since for whatever reason, the average person is getting more jail time for whatever reason, more than likely because they cannot afford to pay these back, I'm going to make sure I say every name, okay, that I found, because this is insane to me. So a lot of these people came into riches, right, by participating in what experts like to call theft of about $80 billion, right? 10% of the $800 billion handed out in COVID relief was known as the PPP program. Now that's about $90 billion to $400 billion believed to have been stolen from the COVID unemployment relief program, at least half taken by international fraudsters, which is wicked to me, and $80 billion potentially filtered from separate COVID disaster relief programs. So the prevalence of relief fraud has been known for some time, but the enormous scope is pretty disturbing, right? So we're going to start with the IRS now, shall we? Jenna Foster sentenced to 41 months of fabricating documents. Brian Salisbury charged with wire fraud and money laundering, obtaining $171,000 and spending it on a new Mercedes-Benz and investment. Courtney Westmoreland charged with wire fraud. She obtained over $11,000 for personal luxuries and falsely claimed unemployment benefits. Fatina Hewitt charged with wire fraud, obtained $28,000 for Gucci clothing and a Vegas trip. Roderick DeMarco White, charged with wire fraud, obtained $66,000 for personal use, including a Gucci satchel. Tina Humes, charged with wire fraud, obtained $120 for jewelry and a Vegas trip. $120,000, sorry. All of these people have pled guilty. Now, what I find interesting with a lot of these IRS employees and federal employees in particular is a lot of their sentences and charges are completely lower than the average person, which I do not agree with. I think that's absolutely strange. Like, you have people that are working in the government out here taking out these loans. That's bad enough. But their punishment has been real loose for me, okay? Real chill. Now, I will say maybe some of them have paid it back. I do understand that different states have different charges for different things. But if I understand correctly, this is federal charges, federal fraud. So I would assume all of them would get the same thing. But I think it depends on exactly what they put on their applications, what could be verified, what could be unverified, the money that they took, the money they were able to pay back, etc., etc. Comment down below what you guys think about that. For federal FBI employees, right? We have Christopher Phillips sentenced to home confinement and probation for fraudulently obtaining PPP loans using falsified IRS forms. Dana Howard of O'Fallon, Richard Scott Myers of Edwardsville, Glenn Sunquist of Swansea, I hope I'm saying that right, are each facing one charge of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, 2 counts of wire fraud. Howard is also facing charges for making a false statement, 2 counts of bankruptcy fraud, 3 counts of willful failure to pay taxes. The grand jury also charged Myers with the 1 count of monetary transaction in funds derived from a specific unlawful activity and 3 counts of bankruptcy fraud. You guys see what I'm talking about in terms of the sentences? Like, how come these people are getting probation, home confinement, maybe a month or so in jail, but then the average person is getting years in jail for PPP fraud? Like, that's absolutely insane. That's the only part of this that I can say I genuinely don't fuck with. Like, I feel like everyone should be getting the same types of sentences. But again, do understand that when it comes to this, there are a lot of these employees that probably were able to pay some of it back and then face the ramifications for whatever it is that they couldn't pay back. Now, what's really crazy about this is not only did a lot of these people not have businesses and fraudulently obtain these loans, but also that a lot of them were still fully employed while taking out these loans, spending these loans, or whatever the case may be. And they kept up the facade that they actually needed this money, when in actuality, a lot of these businesses never existed or were not doing as well or as bad as a lot of them said they were. Additionally, understand that when it comes to a lot of the charges are pretty interesting, from wire fraud to bankruptcy fraud to tax fraud and tax evasion. Like, the charges for doing PPP loan fraud are a lot. It's not just PPP loan fraud. New York City and state public employees. We have Rodney Smith, Denise Gant, Ebony Simon, Faya Scott, Priscilla Jackson, Sharon Charles, Yolanda Lawrence, Yolanda Ratcliffe, Zane Ratcliffe, charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Brandon Boyle, Delilah Cummings, Vashawn Foreman, Trevor Gordon, Diane Hall, Tony McCullough, I hope I said that right, Jared Otley, Ronit Short, Edwin Skeppel, Walter Suswell, individually charged with wire fraud. Like, it was kind of difficult. I'm not going to say very, it was kind of difficult to find these names and find these charges. So I'm going to link what I have down below, but you guys can keep digging and more than likely find more. USPS employees. Yes, those are federal jobs, ladies and gentlemen. We have 19, okay? 19 in Illinois who were indicted for fraudulently obtaining PPP loans. Now, this is going to be very long, all right? And it is wild because for Illinois, a lot of them were defrauding by claiming bogus expenses with fictitious businesses, which I will say is probably really stupid, because it's like the expenses is probably the first thing they're going to look at, because the IRS don't play. The indicted individuals, all current or former USPS employees are. Now, most of these people were charged with wire fraud. So yeah, with the exception of honestly, all of these are wire fraud. Some of them are 1 count, some of them are 2 counts. So let's get straight into it. Dominique Alexander, September 2023, 2 counts of wire fraud. Tennille Baskin, 2 counts of wire fraud, September 2023. Brianna Brown, 1 count of wire fraud, September 2023. Rashandra Donaldson, 2 counts of wire fraud, September 2023. Maya Egibijima, I'm going to say this with the utmost respect. I am so sorry if I said your name incorrectly. 2 counts of wire fraud, September 2023. Larry Eubanks, September 2023, 2 counts of wire fraud. Angela Gillespie or Gillespie, September 2023, 1 count of wire fraud. Patricia Green, 4 counts of wire fraud, and that was August 2023. Charles Hughes, September 2023, 2 counts of wire fraud. Marcus Jones, September 2023, 2 counts of wire fraud. Sarah Jones, September 2023, 1 count of wire fraud. Jasmine Morris, charged in 2023, 2 counts of wire fraud. Shakina Mosley, 4 counts of wire fraud. Anmare, I don't even know how to say that. Anmare Sangester, 1 count of wire fraud. Diamond Vinson, 4 counts of wire fraud. Uniqua Whitaker, 1 count of wire fraud. March 2023, Diamond was August 2023. Tashina White, March 2023, 1 count of wire fraud. Rakaya Williams, September 2023, 2 counts of wire fraud. Chantel Lynn, 2 counts of wire fraud. Now, honestly, it took a lot for me to read that. Like, literally, I was tripping over my words because wire fraud is hard to say a million times. This is insane. Okay, now, if these people are convicted, they have the maximum statutory penalties for the alleged crimes, which are around 30 years of imprisonment and a maximum of 5 years of supervised release and restitution. These cases highlight the widespread of fraud involving government employees misusing COVID-19 funds, and a lot of them have been sentenced or are awaiting trial. Now, honestly, after this, I was like, yo, let me just do the rest for the politicians in another video. But then I realized it was even harder to find the politicians, and I don't like that. If you're going to come after people for fraud, okay, whether it's the average person or the federal employee or a politician or a public figure, etc., it needs to be the same types of punishments. Like I already pointed out earlier, I don't like that some of them are just getting like house arrest and probation, while some people are actually spending time behind bars for multiple years for this fraud. So when it comes to politicians, it was a little bit harder to find people who have been caught up. I know for a fact right now there's a lot of talk going on in the White House with a lot of people in the Republican and Democratic sector who took out PPP loans that may have been fraudulent. But as I said in my other video, y'all need to understand most politicians, public figures, and celebrities do have legit businesses. A lot of them do not do what they do on their own, or they'd probably fall the fuck out. They have employees, right? From assistants to managers to, wardrobe people, makeup people, whatever. All those people are classified as staff. More than likely, a lot of people who did file for them, whether they're millionaires, billionaires, or not, did suffer a loss from COVID. Whether you agree with the fact that they were allowed to apply or not is your personal opinion, but that does not take away from the fact that a lot of them do have legitimate businesses. So in regards to politicians, we have Robert Burns. He's a political consultant, and he owned and operated a local website in Florida called the Space Coast Rocket. So he's being indicted because he sat here and he submitted false PPP loan applications and obtained over $57,000. And unfortunately, he spent this on gambling, crypto, and a whole bunch of other personal uses instead of using it to fund his payroll for his employees. And he's been charged with 3 counts of federal wire fraud. We have Courtney Merritt, who allegedly did fraudulent applications with the SBA and allowed him to collect and never repay government funds from the PPP and the EIDL program. So my guy double dipped, okay? A lot of people who couldn't get the PPP were able to get the EIDL. Now, he received $8,500 in the EIDL, and he got this from saying that he had 6 employees and generated $32,000 in gross revenue, which, to be honest, that doesn't really make much sense. Like, because if you're getting $32,000 in gross revenue, that means you're getting way less in net revenue. So how are you even affording to pay yourself as well as these 6 employees? I don't even, like, I don't understand why they didn't look into these things. But I will say, right, owning a business myself, there's so many different business things that go on. Like, there's different agencies that are in charge of different things, and a lot of them do not intersect at all. Like the IRS, the SBA, all of that, like they may work together on different investigations and stuff like that, but it's not the same. Like, there's not really something that you could look up, like one database where you could be like, all right, is this business in good standing? Nope, you have to go to your state to get that. There's not something that's going to be like one shot that says, okay, this person owes taxes, this person has 8 employees, no, like every single thing is separate. And I think that's problem number one. There should be like a federal business agency type thing. I think that's why they tried to get all the business owners to pay this nonsensical fee in the beginning of the year, to get us registered with this thing. I'll put it on the screen. I don't remember what it's called, but it was insane. Fuck y'all, I ain't doing that shit because it's too much money. Like, I ain't got it. Okay, I ain't got it. But it's like, I feel like that's mistake number one. Like, why are so many different agencies involved in owning a business? There should be something that is able to like have like, all right, these are the people that have businesses. This is how much they owe in taxes. This is how much they make revenue. A lot of y'all probably think, oh no, that's too much. We don't want the government in their business, but these things already exist. They're just through separate agencies, which is why these people were able to commit this fraud like this, right? So keep in mind, the reason I'm saying it costs too much money is because like literally when I was trying to do it like before the beginning of this year, because like it launched in 2024, but then they were like, oh, they're going to give you to January 1st, 2025. There was a fee associated and it was like thousands of dollars. I don't know, maybe I came across a scam site. I'm just happy I didn't do it, but I was like, yeah, no, fuck that. And then it became a thing where a lot of people in the government were like, oh no, it's not fair, it doesn't make sense. So it became like non-mandatory, but mandatory. Like y'all, I just ain't had time to really care. Yeah. So the day after receiving that EIDL loan, Merritt's was out here trying to be greedy because he filed another application with the SBA with different businesses and basically claimed that he had 10 employees and generated over $53,000 in revenue. Of course, he used it for personal gain, and yeah, he got caught up. Former Georgia State House candidate James Frank Austin Jr. was indicted by a federal grand jury for filing false COVID PPP loan applications. And get this, they requested over $1.2 million, okay, in pandemic relief loans. Now, James Frank Austin was a former candidate for Cincinnati mayor and has actually been sentenced to prison. Kelly Prather recently sentenced to 84 months in prison after being convicted for PPP loan fraud. She had 14 counts against her. The trial was July 2023. And Prather was also a candidate for Cincinnati mayor and also ran for Hamilton County Commissioner in 2020. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. I don't think this shit is gonna slow down in terms of them coming for people who committed PPP loan fraud because everybody fucking broke right now. Like the average person, the big corps, the small businesses, like America's economy is just not doing well. And I feel like they think that they can like recover these phones and allocate them to different things. I feel like that's what a lot of them are trying to get at. Like, oh, these people stole the money, so that it needs to be returned, so that, you know, the people that need them get it. And I get it, but at the same time, I think that money's long gone. A lot of them are just going to have to be sentenced. And it's just really unfortunate that a lot of people sat here and defrauded the government with our tax funds. It's not like we don't have our money going to a lot of bullshit anyway, but I will say it's very unfortunate that a lot of legitimate business owners were not able to get the PPP loan, but a lot of these scamming ass businesses were. I feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that these things are not properly channeled by the right devices in order for it not to be, you know, a scam free-for-all. A lot of the articles that I saw have been calling this like the biggest scam of the decade, and it's insane because it's like, is it really that bad? But then when you really look at the amounts and the money that was shelled out, yeah, it really is that bad. And to be honest, like I said, it's a good day when a scammer gets caught. I don't care who you are. If you took out this money, you need to face the ramifications of your action. I don't like scammers. I can't stand a liar, and I can't stand somebody that does something for their own personal gain. Like, at least if they were doing some Robin Hood shit, or they actually made a legitimate business or started a nonprofit that would actually help people, I'd be like, you know what? All right, not that bad. But like a lot of these people literally took out this money, started flexing with it, doing all types of goofy shit. And I do not feel bad for them. I said what I said. I meant what I said. And I'm going to say it again. Do not come in my comment section out here trying to police what I say, saying that I'm coming at the average person. Da, 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 da. I don't give a fuck. A scammer is a scammer. Don't like it. Don't watch. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video that was brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online platform where you can literally learn anything. How to edit, how to draw, how to do anything. And with all the scammers out here, including a lot of the scammers that are more than likely watching this video or being sympathetic for the scammer, understand there are options out there that don't require you spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is why I genuinely appreciate Skillshare. I am a proud advocate of education because at the end of the day, the United States has a trash ass education system. I've been saying it for years. I've been a teacher. Literally, that's the only reason I teach kids and I do what I do, and I'm really involved in the arts because, to be honest, I feel like you have to have something under your belt to help you when you graduate high school, because at this point, a high school diploma does not cut it. You have to get a skill, a trade, a degree, or something to hold on to get these jobs. Now, I know a lot of people are really iffy with college, especially with the loans and all of the unnecessary expenses. So Skillshare is the perfect platform for you. There are so many skills that you can pick up for personal reasons or in the job force that can help you instead of being a scammer. As someone with a bachelor's and a master's, I will say I do wish I did have this back before I went to college, but at the same time, I think I still would have went to college. But there's a couple things, as somebody that is a Jane of all trades, that I've always thought like, damn, there are a few things that I wish that I would have majored in, or I wish I had more experience in. Two things being, one, graphic design, and two, music producing, because as y'all know, I do music. I got one song out, and that's because I gotta wait on these producers. So best believe I am now on Skillshare trying to learn how to, mix music, do a little ting, feel me? And then I'm gonna move on to graphic design because I love doing graphics and I love making logos and stuff, but I'm just not that great. So if you guys would like to try Skillshare and you would like to take up a new skill or learn something new, definitely make sure you guys head down to the link in my description and or the pinned comment, or there's a special link on the screen so you can get started today. With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, do all that. Check out my other channels. Everything you need is going to be linked down below. Everything is not together anymore. A lot of you guys see my faces on the other channels and you think I've changed my content. I have different channels for different content. Again, keep it down below. Get your merchandise. Join the Patreon. And I'm actually going to be opening up membership soon, so stay tuned for that. And I'ma see y'all next time.